We'll start. Welcome everybody to our weekly meditation, and returning to a theme that we touch on quite a lot around connection, and our old friend Richard Rohr, who says about our present ills, ecological devastation, political polarization, wars in so many places, and people hating each other based on race or gender or religion or nationality, our tribalism. He says this is down to a profound and painful sense of disconnection. We feel disconnected, probably internally from ourselves, within ourselves, and from each other, and from our world, and certainly very often from God. And when we're separate, when we're disconnected, everything, he says, becomes about protecting and defending ourselves, and that can become all-consuming. But he says we can regain an awareness of our connection. We can not just know about it, but we can really know it, really experience it. So recognizing the issue, but also the hope that it can change. So in this space, in this time, we just check in on ourselves and note our physical connectedness with where we're sitting, our connection through the bottom, through the soles of the feet. And we take 2 deep cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bringing our attention to that breath. Consciously letting go of the things that have been done, the things yet to be done, and just taking, we're mentioning the weather, the external weather, just taking a scan of the internal weather, the body, the heart, the mind. Just notice what your own internal weather is like. Notice any tension in the body. Notice any emotional tension, any anxiety. And if you are able to step back and observe, are there any thoughts that are passing across the screen or going around and around? Just notice all these things, but notice from a distance. Observe them. And in that observing, perhaps that makes it easier to just let them lie down, lay them down, or visualize them floating away as you bring your attention back to the breath, focused on it and following it. Maybe, as we've been doing for the previous 3 weeks, listening to it. Listening to the sound of the air. Entering through the nose and leaving through the mouth. And now attaching something more powerful to that breath and imagining we're breathing in God's Spirit. Breathing in not just oxygen that provides the energy for our metabolism, but the energy, the divine energy, that allows us to overcome and to persevere and to love. So breathing in all those benefits of God's love. Breathing in calm. Breathing in balance. Breathing in peace. And breathing out tension. Breathing out anxiety. As you continue to breathe slowly and deeply and thankfully, a few more words from Richard Rohr, who contrasts uniformity, which he says is mere conforming and obedience to law and custom, whereas spiritual unity is that very diversity embraced and protected by an infinitely generous love. A problem that our politics is unable to resolve. And then with connectedness, going back to the imagery that Jesus gives us of I am the vine, my Father is the vine grower, and you are the branches. If we don't allow ourselves to be connected, the little self, the ego self, the branch cut off from the vine, can do nothing. And so Jesus commends us, remain in me, or abide in me, as I remain in you. Another colleague of Richard Rohr develops that idea of abiding. To tarry, to stay, to cling, to remain, to depend, to rely. All those, but abide, she says, is a tricky word. passive on the one hand and active on the other. To abide is to stay rooted in place, but it is also to grow and change. It's a vulnerable word. If we abide, we may get pruned. It's a risky word. If we abide, we'll bear fruit that others will see and taste. It's a humbling word. If we abide, we'll have to accept nourishment that is not of our own making. And it's a connected word. If we abide, we will have to coexist with our fellow branches. And so maybe we'll take some of that imagery into another short period of silence, which we might think of as our contemplation, our focus on that connectedness of being the branches, of abiding. And using the breath as a way of being aware of our wider connectedness, conscious that as well as the branches of the vine, we are sharing the Ruach, the very breath of God, the same air breathed by every living thing on the planet. Breathing in that awareness of our wider connectedness. Maybe this time as you breathe in, pause and count for 2 after the in-breath. Notice the shared silence. And after the out-breath, again pause. Notice the stillness. Another of Richard Rohr's colleagues, James Finley, suggests that as we put on the mind of Christ, this is to experience our connection to God and others and to act accordingly. He says to enter the mind of Christ is to realize our oneness with the faces we see on TV. To realize we are one with that homeless person we saw on the street. The man or woman who delivers our post. All who have hurt us or wronged us, along with those we have never met. We are to realize we are equally, fully one with every blessed one of them. And we are to put this love into action by the ways in which we treat others and by what we are willing to do for them as expressions of our love. Last week was Interfaith Week, and I was struck by one piece I heard from a Muslim scholar who was talking about peace and justice, and made the strong point that whilst our resources are limited and we can exhaust ourselves, in our connection with the divine, we are connected to an inexhaustible source of peace and justice. So we're not just a container, but we have a tap that is constantly refilling us. Another story I heard, an imam ending a meeting with the students who were on a field trip, saying, "Our deepest desire is not that you become Muslim, but that you become the best Christian, the best Jew, the best person you can be." And finally, taking us to our silence, some words I've used before from Rowan Williams, who says, "God is first and foremost the depth around all things and beyond all things, into which, when I pray, I try to sink. But God is also the activity that comes to me out of that depth, tells me I'm loved, opens up a future for me that offers transformations I can't imagine." And so we'll go to our longer period of silence, taking some of those thoughts with us, to Taizé chant Ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est. Where charity and love are, there is God. So we gently come out of our silence. Bringing that connectedness with us back into the room. That deeper connection to the inexhaustible source. And some closing words from a hymn. O breath of life, come sweeping through us. Revive us all with life and power. O breath of life, come cleanse, renew us, and fit your church to meet this hour. O breath of love, come breathe within us, renewing thought and will and heart. Come, love of Christ, afresh to win us, revive your church in every part.